Surely here, and this is of course the second take. And why it is the second take? This is because, first of all, I'm going to leave this one open, and then I'm going to open another one, because we are going to look at the election for my business. And of course, Mercury, Rahu, so there's a second take, but it's still the moon hour. Still the moon hour, and I'm going to go to this and basically explain the election for my business. First of all, last election with Moon in Sagittarius and Saturn in Pisces, which means before Saturn ingresses to my second house, I open a business. Now, Mars and Sun in the sixth house, hidden enemies are visible, open enemies basically are visible. The entire Neptune Chiron is in the 8th house, which is curating the wound around castration. Ninth house, midheaven in the ninth house, midheaven next to Uranus. Beta Persei is not minima, she will be minima tomorrow, so it's the shielding phase of Beta Persei. And I'm going to continue from the Pisces, Venus and Rahu, Mercury being in the 7th house. So definitely the second take is normal for Mercury. Mercury Rahu, first take, second take. Already I noticed that, and it's okay. And this reminds me that when I was even filming myself as singing, I would always release the second take. First take, second take, go. And the reason is because I have Mercury in Aries. It's on the spot, but somewhat refined. Second take is usually the best. By the way, also in filmmaking, at least for me. Um, so, I'm going to continue. Pisces, ruler of the midheaven in the 7th house, but the ruler of the ruler in the 11th. Basically, Rahu in the 7th, Ketu in the 1st, and the ruler of the ruler in the 11th. Ruler of the midheaven, midheaven in the 9th house, in the 2nd. Um, what does it mean? I don't know. 7th house is usually about partnerships. So, I don't know. Okay? I don't know. Um, it can be that with this business I will partner with Moon is in the 4th house. Moon is in the 4th house, ruler of the 4th and 7th in the 11th, and the ruler of the ruler is in the 5th. Ascendant Virgo, but Mercury in the 7th. Now, I have Ascendant Pisces, so I am the partner. I am the partner. Um, and the ruler of my ascendant is Jupiter. So Jupiter in the 11th, but this time in Cancer. And this is where the ruler of the 8th being brought to the 6th is everything I talked about in a previous episode. I talked about curating or creating an alternative to. But also something to do with esoteric. Probably there will be oil paintings. Ruler of the This is the ninth house in the seventh. Basically, uh, something to do with the teaching or the business being international or spiritual. And this is I wouldn't say spiritual art, but it's art that doesn't, how should I say it, hide the fact that it was done in a certain context, astrologic context, and has a philosophy behind it. Um, what is this doing in the seventh? I don't know. It's something that I will need to find out, but definitely midheaven in the ninth, business that is international, um, and even global, and the ruler of the ruler in the 11th, reception between the 11th and the 4th. Again, I opened this business in my own house. I mean, where I reside. I don't have a property right now, um, but there is this reception between Jupiter and the moon. Cancer, the 11th house, goals and dreams, something is joy of creation. Um, what is this partners and open enemies, 7th house? I don't know. I will need to find out. Um, but then again, when it comes to the malefics, yes, I have a malefic in the 8th house. The reason being is because my natal chart has Aries in the 2nd, and I wanted Saturn to still not be in the 2nd. What does Saturn in the 8th house mean? Probably every 28 years, I would need to do good accountants. So, who will this business be partnering with? I don't know, but definitely denotes to the 7th. But the ruler of Pisces is in the 11th, and its ruler is in the 4th. Could be with my mother. It could be that my mother would assist me or even be my accountant. Because I will definitely need accountants, and she has had diploma in the lower degree of accountants. What's more, it can moon is mother. That makes the most sense. And yes, this Pisces is her 3rd house, which is business, and I have ascendant there. She doesn't know about anything right now. Lot of fortune was with Spica, which means that and Venus in the 8th house, in the 7th house. So this is probably going to be a fair and just partnership between me and my mother. Uh, so, and this is 2nd house for this chart. Lot of fortune, it means, yes, everything I was, this is a culmination of at least 30 years. At least, I'll be 42. When I was 12 was the first time I began to think about economy. So this is a culmination of almost 30 years. It's Saturn return from when I first created inventions, began to think about economy, and did the first newspaper with another girl, classmate that had a father that had a printing house. Lot of fortune on Spica tells me that I'm doing something right, because everything I wanted to have a business that is fair trade, fair and just, and this is the cornerstone. Okay, so no ritual abuse, no rape, no psychic attacks, and so on and so forth. Um, and yeah, lot of fortune is usually things that happen to me, and if they happen around Spica, and what happens to me is that I launch the business when the lot of fortune is conjoining Spica, then and by the way, is adjacent to ascendant of Israel. So the midheaven here is yes, an inside job. But um, Moon in Mula Nakshatra, fifth house, again, to have a business that is a joy to run, a joy to create, and creating art. It's not in my terms because there is the alignment of the stars, in my terms, and the stars unite. Because this is the inner gnosis of what my terms are. And Pluto in the sixth house, Pluto in Aquarius, Saturn in the eighth. For this phase 1, Pluto is squaring my Venus, but is phase 1. Okay, I was not waiting for Pluto to go to square my Saturn and Sun, let's say. And Venus is trining my Pluto, and sextiling my Venus and my Sedna. So Venus is a point of Thales for me. Okay, and we see how the election is connected also to my natal chart. Lilith with my Ketu. Yes, Chiron in the 8th house, curating the issue of cloning, castration, and curating the issue of sovereignty when we come to shared resources, usually denoting I have Mercury there at 2 separate bank accounts. Okay, it's the prenuptial, and prenuptial is also with business partners. This and IC is a degree away from my lot of divination in the 3rd house. So again, home business can denote that I will be working indeed with my mom. And next to my lot of divination, which is my ability to predict. So this business has to do with my ability to predict and create the trends in art. It's me as a trendsetter. Sedna is in the 10th house. And I have natally Chiron would be in the 10th house. My Chiron would be in the 10th house if I would do synastry of me and this business. Which is the good time to edit this election as my business. So I'm going to add basically birth chart of my business. Today we are 12 Faber. And by the way, Sun is conjoining Deneb Algedi. It was very important for me to do something incredibly important today. Moon is separating from sextile to the Sun. Sun Deneb Algedi is fantastic. I find it fantastic. I love the effect of this Sun. And we are at 2026. And this is 5 p.m. and 51 minutes, which is, yes, I will have to yeah, and let's add this to my database as art with the stars lounge business STJ. Yeah, and yes, for those that have wondered, it is also curation because usually people would either have genitalia either intersex or genitalia mutilation as artists, and this is, at least at the time of the launch of this business, a timestamp of attempting to curate that, because we didn't have that before in Renaissance creators. Now, if I would make, this is the birth chart of my business. No, but this actually launched, well, the midheaven is 28, but this actually launched, the relaunch was a 52, but this is the approximation between those. It could be considered the composite of the launching, because it had the double. Mercury gives us something that is of 2, and by the way, this is curation to the double, the Mengele twins. But before that, it was doppelganger. I know it's a lot of ouch, but I'm addressing that not as shame or blame, but as, hey, that was the past, and I'm at least setting the cornerstone to a different future. And also during the 60s, the Renaissance will be with Chiron. Neptune will ingress to Taurus, and Chiron will be with Rahu. I have Chiron Rahu in my natal chart. When I think it was Chiron Rahu eclipse range, when I was expressing my vision, and this is the cornerstone. Now let's make a synastry of me and the business, or composite of me and the business. It has been a while. It has been a while. It has been a while. Okay, T square. Mars, Sun, and Moon. This is composite. Davidson will probably show different picture. Bisextile, Saturn, Neptune, Saturn, Pluto, and Jupiter. Ketu Spica, Rahu is where Chiron today, which is interesting because in 18 years Neptune is going to be here. No, not in 18 years. Sorry. In 18 years, okay, 18 years is going to be Rahu return, and Neptune is going to ingress. It's going to be the beginning of the Renaissance clock. 18 years, we are 2026. 18 years, Pluto is going to ingress to Pisces, and the Neptune is going to be in Taurus. And this is 11th house. So it starts as something that I did just for the heck of it. It started as hobby, but this is progressing to be business. And then there is the big occult. Lilith is on my lot of fortune and I know people don't usually delineate in that way. I delineate with it's extra sensitive delineation. Saturn in the 8th, Mars in the 8th, but um, Pluto Sag, I said I wanted to have Gen Z friendly structure. Um, Pluto in the 7th. What is this 12? 12 because it's right on the degree. Jupiter midheaven. Uranus is the closest to the midheaven, which makes sense because it's an astrology related business. Jupiter here in the 5th, Venus in the 11th. Venus in Aries, Venus, Mercury, Sol, Rahu, Stellium in Aries, sovereignty, 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 and sovereignty. Okay, sovereignty, business, sovereignty, currency, sovereignty, art, sovereignty, creator of the art, sovereignty in the materials, sovereignty in the goals and dreams. And all this leads to the 8th house with the ruler in the 8th, but Neptune in the 9th, mythical astrology. Again, a lot of things going to the 8th. The good things is the bisextile of Neptune, Pluto, and Jupiter, very protected. Mars, Uranus, sextile, real estate of astrology, because one of the artwork is going to be architecture. Now let's take a look at the Davidson. Chiron in the 12th, Venus in the 11th, curating something also around mental health, which has to do with, okay, sovereign fertility or sovereign creation and curating that wound or addressing that because it's a business that's actually compatible with my mental health. So, nervous system, supportive business. Davidson, okay? And of course, the T square that would be solved with Mars in Capricorn, that would be solved at the moon, which would be actually the degree of my Vesta in the 5th house, which is what we dedicate our soul and being to. And that has to do with the moon related, which is astrology as well. And I have my moon, which is moon point of Thales. So, yes, there is a T square, but Mars squaring Sun and squaring Moon, challenge. But we'll see. Mars sextiles the Sun and Venus in the Davidson. So Mars is a point of Thales between the Sun and Moon. So in the Davidson, the problems of the composites are resolved. Mars Chiron, curating something about the way of the business, is definitely curating something about the way astrology is done. Needless to say, I already talked about that. Rahu in the 5th house, Pluto Mula Nakshatra, not too far from my midheaven. Saturn Lilith in the 9th house. Wait a second, no. Sorry, Rahu in the 6th house, Mars in the 1, 2, 3, the 3rd. So I own my business. Okay, 3rd house is the business we own. I am my own boss. Okay. ruler of the 10th house in the 6th. I am my own boss. Midheaven degree 9 of completion, degree of the moon. Mercury retrograde in Aries. Saturn in the 9th. Lilith Procyon. Lilith Procyon, and indeed, it comes to curate the issue around sovereignty. Okay, the wife that would not be subdued to Adam. But the moon is in the 12th, Venus in the 6th. So, yet Venus brings what's from the 12th. Ketu in the 12th, which means it's going to go bring the wisdom of the 12th. This is going to be highly spiritual. Highly spiritual. And I bring the 12th to the 6th, which means that through my vocation and my business, I bring something to the world. This is the combination. Uranus in Pisces, and indeed Uranus 8 degree, just a degree away from where we have Rahu and Mercury. Neptune, 3rd house, Uranus 4th house. Indeed, I do this where I reside. Neptune 3rd house, which means second, third. Wait a second. What's going on? Scorpio 1, Sagittarius 2, Capricorn 3, and Aquarius 4th. So this can bring some conflicts at home. Neptune, yes, the business is at home, but the conflicts can remediate. I don't know. Okay. Which means the 4th house, this is 4th house, 5th house is Uranus, and Jupiter is 12th. The 6th house is Aries, and the Mars is in the 4th house. So business from home, and also this can be architecture, because we don't have housing that is not built with, it's going to be some sort of a house of astrology to set in stone an artistic structure that is when Saturn in the 8th and the 12th. I don't know. We'll see. Let's do Synastry, which tells me what are my day-to-day relation with the business. So composite Davidson, if I take my business and me and make of it one entity, what does it do in the world? Okay, and now, how will it be for me to deal day to day with my business? Quite some challenging stuff. 20 easy compatible, 8 conflict, 3 emotional suffering. I don't like this, but what can I do? 8 loving, 3 key aspects. Let's see. First of all, we have moon compatibility. Completion. I am crescent moon, which means growth, opportunity, struggle. And this business is reality check, revision, integration, cleansing. And so this business is going to be a refinement of my praxis. It's basically set out to be my legacy. Moon ascendant square can be problematic, but since it's not person, um, sometimes I may upset my mom's problem. With my problem solving, I may upset mother figures. Yes, what can I say? Mars square Sun. This happens anyway. Mars square Sun. My business, my rules. My body, my rules. My soul, my rules. My life energy, my rules. My business, my rules. Okay? Zero slavery. Zero rape. Um, or death. Yeah. Mars square Sun. Um, very challenging. Yes, it's not sexual relationship, but double whammy Mars square Sun, which poses a challenge. This might be corrected on phase 2. While phase 1 doesn't go away, phase 2 can be corrected, and then when and that might phase 2 might be with a relaunch of something that will have Saturn in my second. I don't want Saturn in my third, but both of them are possible. Ascendant trine Venus. This is very good aspect. It means that the business and my values are one and the same. Makes sense. Moon trine Venus. Indeed, it is supposed to be enjoyable for me and emotionally compatible with my values. My values and my emotions are supposed to be one. So this moon is trining my Venus. Venus sextile Venus, again compatible values. Sun sextile Mercury, it's going to communicate the art of the business with my communication, expression, very compatible. Already I feel that. Ascendant Mercury, again, the business and my communication, expression, very compatible. Moon Mercury, again, the emotional aspects of the business, compatible with my values, because Mercury is in my second house, and how I express myself. Of course, I'm 41 years old, and I tried a lot of works as jobs and as private business as well. Moon sextile Pluto, fantastic aspect. Fantastic aspect. Emotionally deep and profound and compatible, which is important. It has to be fitting to my emotional state at the very core level, which is Moon Pluto. Venus trine Pluto. Again, this is my remedy for my Venus square Pluto transit. Okay? My values to the core, compatible with Pluto. Sexual sovereignty, will and consent, fertility supportive, talking about the big taboo stuff, renaissance, and as well as my actual essence of desire, what I want to do. Not what I need to do, not just what the world needs, not just what I'm good at, what I want to do, what actually embodies me with my values in my terms of my power, in my power. Not as control over, but as a union. And Pluto, 4-degree Aquarius, square in my Venus, this is in transit, and this is the aspect I remedy with the date where I opened this business, which is Venus is a point of talus between my own Venus and this Pluto. I also made Venus talisman today, but this is also because it is challenging time. Pluto square in my Venus. It's a crisis. And even just this cornerstone is already my expression of the I am, of who I am, of what I want, and of what I do for a living. Moon conjoining Neptune. Moon Neptune can have pros and cons, but it's very good for art. This is artistic creativity, which is needed. It's going to be mythically artistic. And Neptune, it's my Neptune square. Neptune is next to my midheaven. So very compatible. My Neptune Mula Nakshatra, Moon Mula Nakshatra. The moon is between my midheaven and Neptune. Again, I take it from astrology that could be taken to, let's say, even psychological consultation, to all kinds of scientific, all these things, and I take it to where is fit for me, where's the art, the philosophy, the expression, and the zero rape, zero slavery around that. This is my response to the spirit of the time, where one could even say it is my recovery. Prosperous long-term is business. Mercury trine in Moon. Again, good for expression, for emotional expression. Mercury is for painting, for carving, for doing something with the hands. And this is taking it to the utmost, to the mythical, to the Neptune level, to the utmost level of creation. Saturn conjoining ascendant. Saturn conjoining ascendant. Complicated because this is me incarnating me. It can be restrictive, but the dedication is aligned with my path. Uranus sextile ascendant. This is very compatible for me to do. My ascendant, Uranus is in the 10th house, which squares, my midheaven squares my ascendant. But Uranus here in Taurus sextiles my ascendant. It's a renaissance of me. And the business being a renaissance of me is a great election with this aspect. Neptune conjoining ascendant, yes, from Aries out of sign conjunction. This makes me personally of mythical importance, not just my legacy. What now? Here's the thing with Neptune. What mythical importance? I don't know. Neptune, we have to surrender things. But again, it's my Neptune square. And it's what I didn't know that I didn't know that I'll be. Ascendant, by the way, to be very honest, the Pisces ascendant, I went through at least the second frontier of ritual abuse, definitely MK often, and the goal of those things is to create dissociative identity disorder. The proof of existence sometimes is creation. The creation that expresses who I am. And the sovereign creation that is me, even at the times where I went through quite challenging things, like billions of others. But this is the essence of recovery, because it's not recovery. It dissolves into the I am and my legacy, with what it was meant to be. What would I do if I did not have trauma? This. What am I doing? This. How am I doing that? Like this. How would I do it if I did not have trauma? Like this. Today I had this gnosis that all of those astrological timings are basically what we meant to incorporate in our business because of slavery-based societies and religions and so on. Not blaming or shaming, but we were out of tune, and this is why we had ailments and identity issues and so on and so forth. So this is me. Ascendant sextile Pluto. Okay, ascendant sextile Pluto. Um, Again, evolving into myself, the power of who I am expressed through this business. And it's something that sustains. Venus sextile Neptune. Again, mythical art. My values, what I create, and the mythical importance. My values and the mythical importance. The values of the business and my mythical importance, Neptune next to my midheaven, what I'm going to be known for, and this Venus is in harmony. And Venus is in my first house. So it's something of mythical importance, something that's bound to be my legacy even after I die. Not that I'm eager to die. um, and this Venus sextile can create, I enjoy living, and my wish is to live a good life, and ever after my life to live good memories. So the people will connect with the love, not because there were grief or sadness, but because of the joy of creation, and to have that as the legacy. Also for future artists, that they will not have to be trafficked. Karen Mulder, Karen Mulder, Karen Mulder, way before the Epstein list. And this is the cornerstone. Mercury sextile Jupiter. What I do, basically Mercury, but my art, the technical parts, are in harmony with my beliefs, also with me, because Jupiter is ruler of my ascendant, and my dreams and goals. So what I do in this business is in harmony with my dreams and goals and with me, which is the response to everything. Mercury trine Saturn, something that the skill is going to stand the test of time, and indeed, it took me a lot of time. It was in 2021 when I was making my first talisman of Algol and Mercury. I was doing channeling experiment, and we are in 2026 after 5 years of practicing the art and developing my own opinion, my own this, my own that, and my own vision, my I am. So this is something that can stand the test of time, good combination to build skill, and the communication can stand the test of time. The business itself can stand the test of time. Also, it gives me good omen for my idea about currency. Mars square Saturn, the innovation and the conformity. Okay? My Saturn, I challenge myself because the entire world around me had to show me that I'm competent. Because I said it's too much for me, it's too difficult. Remember when Austin Kopok presented his wife's business, Sphere and Sundry. And he said, yeah, with people, it's very difficult, it's this. And I said, well, and then I was called living with someone, and he said, if you do this astrological magic, I cannot be your friend or in contact with you anymore. And I said, there's no chance in the world I will do it, too complicated. Um, and then almost, yes, it's almost like Austin came and said, no, you do this. Um, and not only that, I did not have money to buy talismans until I made my first talisman, and then I had PayPal. And then sometimes I would not have, let's say, a night chart. I would be sensitive to the talismans of Sphere and Sundry. And then I said, oh, both these guys are day charts. And then it was like, okay, what's the grand missing? Oh, I would actually want to create the art with, do art like Da Vinci or do science like Da Vinci, which is where I began on my channel, when I was just doing manifestation before I began to practice astrology. And so the Mars of the business is actually convincing my Saturn that I'm competent, which is one of the best positions to have, because it's almost like this business challenges me to try something new. It challenges me to create. It challenges me to have a business, to set the cornerstone. Because I am, my Saturn is the conservative one. And if it was opposite, it could be tremendously difficult. But because it's the other way around, it's actually where I have to challenge myself, yes, to try something bigger. Jupiter sextile Sun. Sun is creativity, Jupiter is faith, beliefs, philosophy. Fantastic for creativity, big art, big expression, confident creation. Might have some scent to it. And Jupiter exalted in Cancer. Yes, it is retrograde, but exalted in my 5th house. Amazing. Jupiter conjoining Moon is Jupiter conjoining my Moon. Okay, big growth. Almost impossible for the Moon to feel discouraged in the presence of Jupiter. Basically means working on this business will not be depressive for me, because I suffered from depression when I tried to work every time. And this is the complete curation for that. Is that doing that, I could not be depressed working on this business. Jupiter opposing Jupiter, meaning that I have to challenge my own beliefs, because this is exalted Jupiter. My belief of what it's like to work in a business, my belief of what it's like to achieve my dreams and goals, my beliefs about my dreams and goals. If everything tells Renaissance, why am I making myself smaller? And then when I try to make myself a bit bigger, something tries to make me small. Why? Because I didn't get big enough. That is the solution for that. Sun trine Pluto. Sun trining my Pluto. Sun Deneb Algedy. Powerful support and leadership is coming from Deneb Algedy's Sun. I love Deneb Algedy's Sun. I wanted to do talisman with Deneb Algedy's Sun. I did talisman. I want to do something important with Deneb Algedy's Sun, because I grew up without a present father. By the way, not because he was incompetent, but because it was better to be missing father than have a home where everybody fights everybody. And even when my father missing, I still heard from my father, but This then Abalgedi sun is the hidden incarnation of support, of having the support of the sun, of the solar figure, in a way that I can receive and understand that. My father's sun, by the way, is on my lot of fortune, and the other father's sun in my seventh house. Yes, because I told you the story. But I grew up with my mom. And all of my parents, my mom, my father, and my father, have karmic rope with the moon with me. Although with this business have moon that is karmic rope, but this moon is not a person, and the moon sextiles this sun, and the sun is supportive of me in a way that I can understand. Mercury square Uranus is going to be unexpected, rebellious. Something about my business would be somewhat rebellious towards my natal Uranus. And this means that non-traditional, I'm the non-traditional one, of course, but it takes, for me, what I notice, it takes twice for me to do something. And I use the second take, so it's one way it can be resolved, but we'll see how that will express itself. Basically, Rahu is squaring my natal Uranus and squaring my Rahu. The business has Rahu square Rahu. Creators of company Rolls-Royce had one Rahu squaring another Rahu. And we are before 2030. So this is embodiment of that square. Not the easiest, but it's an embodiment of tension. And the composite and Davidson of Rahu and Ketu on Aries and Libra, which is my 8th and 2nd house. 2nd house is income, 8th house is the royalties, the passive income. So, and for the way I named it, the art with astrology, STJ, is incorporating me and the business. It has my name in the name of the business, and it has the business. So the union of the two is bringing the composite Rahu and Ketu, and this Rahu and Ketu is actually sextile my natal Rahu and Ketu, which can still work. Mars sextile Uranus, amazing aspect, which means that there is sudden creativity. It can also support having good real estate for the business and for me. Because the only house that I can live in is a house of astrology that is designed by the idea of this business, which scares me. But necessity has birthed creation. Uranus opposing Mars. This Uranus opposes my Mars, and while it is challenging, I do have Mars sextiling my Uranus. So, this may be a challenging point, but we'll see what we'll do. This one is, by the way, it's a crisis, and we are indeed in a crisis, both regarding astrology, regarding real estate, and the 22, which the 22 is the doppelganger, and there is an opposite, because it's basically coming to challenge the notion that artists need to assassin, for example. Saturn square Neptune. I just expressed the opposite. Saturn square Neptune. Saturn is squaring my natal Neptune. Yes, this is where Neptune will not play according to Saturn rule, but this is a problematic aspect, issues blame, guilt, and so on. Again, if I work, let's say, with my mom, I will be strict because she won't be able to guilt trip me on anything, because I will tell her, is this or this, and Saturn rules this. This or this. By the way, this is how I got my first degree. This. This. This is how I got my mother to fund for filmmaking degree for the 1 year that I did very partial studies. And I'm not imagining. So yeah. Again, challenges. Sun square Mars, Venus squaring Pluto, Neptune squaring Moon. Yeah, Moon is applying to square Neptune. This could mean, we'll see when the Moon is crossing to Capricorn, how will I feel? Because now is kind of like the do it anyway. Neptune Aries is very do it anyway. The cornerstone, Lilith, Ketu, midheaven Uranus, Mars Uranus opposition, Pluto square Pluto, Neptune square Neptune, but this is on time. Rahu squares my Uranus, but is separating from the square. So this is tension to how it's basically, I'm going to have Uranus ingress into my 4th house as Uranus opposition. Probably I will have phase 2 at around that time. And this is applied astrology. Whereas astrology was more like a teaching before in the past, I'm challenging myself to unify my Rahu and Ketu. So now, okay. Moon squaring Neptune. Moon is conjoining my Neptune, squaring Neptune. This is coming from, for the business, 4th house. This is coming from 10th house for me. Oh, me fearing about Neptune of when I have to present myself publicly. And doing it anyway. So kind of like, how will I be accepted, or how will I be received? So me fearing about how will I be received, or me having to surrender how will I be received.